Hello, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to the Getting Started with Top Producer Facebook Live session. Today we're going to be covering a little bit about what you should do with your first week of the program as well as first day with the program. So, we're going to get you started with some things you need to do in the system and some tools that are going to be really helpful going forward. So we're going to be covering quite a few things today. So if you need any help or want to go over something more thorough here after the class, feel free to give our support a call. But we'll also be answering questions in the comments, so feel free to comment while we're going through as well. So you just got Top Producer, our one-stop toolkit for realtors. And now what? Don't look at what Top Producer can do because it can really do a lot of things. What you want to focus on is what you need to do and let Top Producer help. And if you're not sure where to start, these tips are going to help you really get started in the system. All right, so day one with the system is all about setting up your foundations for your daily success. So the first thing we're going to talk about is getting contacts into the system. So it's important to put your contacts into Top Producer because you want to be able to keep all of the history with your contacts and you want to be able to turn your leads into your lifelong clients. If you make sure all of your contacts are in your CRM and you update them continuously from the moment they come in as a lead, it'll help you maintain visibility into their sales cycle status. It won't do much good if you put your clients on an action plan or things like that if you're not really reaching out to them or doing kind of any initial interaction. So there are a couple of different ways your contacts can be added into the system. And the first way to get your contacts into the system would be to import them into your Top Producer. So to import your contacts into the system, they must be saved in a CSV file format or for Mac users, a vCard file format. And once you have your contacts saved into one of those file formats, the next thing to do is get them imported into the system. The way to get them imported into the system is go to the Contacts tab in your main menu and then choose Import Contacts. A screen will pop up asking you to map out the fields for your file and import them into the system. If you're just starting out, you might not have a contact database built yet, so you'll want to manually add those contacts into the system. Adding contacts manually into the system is also quite simple. What you're going to do is in Top Producer, you're just going to go to the Contacts tab in the main menu again. And then from the Contacts tab, you're going to want to hit the Add Contact. From there, you'll be able to set the contact status, contact type, and then enter all the information you have about your contact into the system. So those are some of the good ways to get the contacts into the system there for you. After that, the next thing we want to do is get Top Producer on your mobile device. We know that realtors don't typically spend the day at their desk. You guys are on the road, you're on the go, and we want you guys to have Top Producer access right at your fingertips. You might want to do things with your Top Producer while you're out and about, and since you'll have Top Producer on your mobile, you'll really be able to do things such as adding contacts on the go, having leads right in your pocket, and you'll be able to use Top Producer as your personal assistant while you're out. That way, if you have any appointments or calls scheduled, you'll have everything you need there, and nothing's going to fall through the cracks. We don't have an app from the App Store, and this is because a lot of people have a larger database, right? And it might take a lot of space up on your phone. That being said, we do have a couple of different ways you can add the mobile icon onto your home screen. That way, if you're on the road, you meet a new client, you'll have your Top Producer right there, and you can put all of their information in place. So if you're an iPhone user, what you'll want to do is you'll want to go to your Safari browser on your iPhone, and then you're going to want to go to the website m.tpcrm.com, and we'll put that website address in the comments of our Facebook here. But m.tpcrm.com is where you'll want to go. And when you're on Safari, what you'll want to do is if you scroll down to the bottom of your screen and then start scrolling back up, this is going to open a white bar at the bottom of your screen. And you'll see some icons. You can see on my slide here, there's a back arrow, there's a forward arrow, and then there's this one in the middle, which is a square with an arrow pointing up. What you'll want to do is hit that square with the arrow pointing up. And I'm actually just going to make that a little bit bigger so you guys can see as well. So there we go. So it'd be this icon on your iPhone right here in the middle. It'll have some options. It'll have like add to bookmark, add to reading list, some things like that. And you'll just want to scroll to the right-hand side. And once you scroll to the right-hand side, you should see something that says add to home screen. Once you click on add to home screen, it'll just ask you to name it. It'll autofill the name to top producer. And then hit add, and that'll put a little icon right on the home screen of your phone. For my Safari users, let me just switch back here. For my Safari users, you're just going to want to go to Google Chrome, and in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you're going to want to hit the three dots. And in there, there's going to be an option to add it to the home screen. I do see someone said that they lost sound here. I'll just get Christine to enter in the comments here. Maybe try refreshing the stream. It looks like all the sound should be up and running for us. So if anyone does lose sound during the class, just try refreshing the stream and you should get sound again. All right, so now I'm going to go on to our next slide here. So we've talked a little bit today about adding your contacts into the system and getting the mobile added onto your home screen. So the next thing we want to do is organize our contacts. And you guys might be thinking, Brett, I already have my contacts in the system. Isn't that good enough? And the answer is no. It is a starting point, but you really want to be as organized as possible with your contacts, so it's easy to find them and it's easy to do things like mass email. One way to do this is by adding contact types to your clients. Now, a contact type describes your client in relationship to you. So things like buyer, things like seller or referral would be considered a contact type. So the first thing you want to do is decide what contact types you want for your contacts. In Top Producer, there are several different contact types in the system already, as well as you can also add your own contact types into the system, which is nice because it gives you that little bit of editing capability. So you can add contact types individually to your contacts from the contact detail page, or you can mass update groups of contacts if you wanted a certain group to have a certain contact type. And you still might be asking yourself, Brett, why should I do this? And it's kind of what I touched on. You should do this because all of your contacts, if they're organized by contact type, you can easily search for them. You can also easily send them things as a group. So if you're doing anything like mass emailing or anything like that. Another thing we want to do for organizing your contacts is actually setting the appropriate contact statuses to your clients. Now, contact statuses are a little bit different than contact types. So contact statuses describe where your leads are in the sales pipeline. And so this makes it a lot easier for you to engage with your money makers. You can see the contact types in the sales pipeline, and I actually have them here on my slide. I'm just going to change the view a bit for you guys. So if I change it to full screen, you can kind of see those a little bit better here. So The contact statuses are all in the sales pipeline, and just like contact types, contact statuses are an important part of organizing your contacts. The reason that it's important to have the appropriate contact statuses is you want to be able to see the business that you have coming down your pipeline. And those are some of the really good ways to organize your contacts, right? Get them into your system, get a contact type applied to those contacts, and then also set a contact status there so you know where they are in relation to your sales cycle. All right. So now that we've talked about getting them into the system and organizing them, in some cases you might be importing a large group of contacts and you want them all to have the same contact type. And I've talked about, doing mass emails and things like that a little bit earlier. But in Top Producer, we have a mass update feature to help with this. So, if you want to mass update a group you've just imported, the easiest way to access that is through the contact search page on your main menu. So what you would want to do is you would select the contacts tab, go down to the bottom and choose search for contacts. And then you would choose the contacts you want to mass update at the bottom of the screen. The great thing is if you need to update a full group of contacts, it can be easily done here. There might be times you want to mass email a certain group of contacts in your database, and with proper organization, the use of the mass update feature, all of this can be done quite easily. And then the last step on your first day should be familiarizing yourself with the follow-up coach and making sure you have all the settings correct. On the slide here, I do have a little clip of the follow-up coach settings. So the follow-up coach is found on the home screen, and based on settings and rules in the system, the follow-up coach chooses 5 contacts a day to reach out to and suggests different ways for you to follow up with them. You can click the contact card in the follow-up coach, do your follow-up, and then wrap it up all on the same screen. You can find the settings for the follow-up coach on the left-hand side under Why These Contacts. So from there you can set dates for your rules, turn rules off, and if you're changing them and you want to return to the default settings in the system, there is actually just a restore default buttons in the bottom right-hand corner of your follow-up coach where you can do that. Now, consistent follow-up, it will provide a profitable return on your time investment. All you have to do is really set how often you want to connect with each group and make sure you have the correct assigned contact types. And then Top Producer can take it from there. So those are a couple of the things that you want to do on day one with Top Producer. We've learned how important organization is, and it's really key, when we want to set up things to like our follow-up coach and things like that to be more organized. So that's a little bit of the things you would definitely want to do on day one to get started in Top Producer. Next, we're going to move on to week one, and week one's really about getting familiar with the system and working with the 3 steps to success. So earlier in the webinar, I did talk a little bit about the sales pipeline, and now I'm going to go a little bit more in detail on that. I did see someone here comment the follow-up coach is gold. That's right, Raymond. Once you do have it set up, really, really easy, kind of takes over for you and helps you keep in contact with your clients. So the sales pipeline is what your prospects move through as they go through the stages of being a new lead to a customer. So we talked about organizing your sales pipeline a little bit earlier, but now we're going to talk about working it. We touched on contact statuses before as well, and I want to touch on the status of new a little bit. New is an important status. Contacts with the status of new are going to be the new leads that are in your system. I know that you guys want to reach out to those new leads right away so you can turn them from leads into clients. The great thing is from within sales pipeline, you can apply a plan to your contacts, you can change their pipeline status, or you can add a note without even actually having to fully open their contact record. We all know that if, there is a new lead in our system, we want to reach out to them as soon as possible so we don't lose them or so they don't go somewhere else, right? The cool thing is having all the options right in the sales pipeline really makes it easy for you to reach out to those new leads and update them seamlessly. So once you've reached out to those new clients, you'll be changing their status from new to another one, hopefully active. From there, you can wrap up the interaction with your client, documenting any details that may have happened, and then schedule a future follow-up right from there. We all know that scheduling follow-up tasks with clients is a great thing, right? But the hard part when we go to follow up is remembering really who we're supposed to follow up with and how. So that's what the My Business section is going to do for us. And I have the My Business section here on the slide. I'll just change views again here so you guys can all see it a little bit bigger. So we can see like the My Business section down here at the bottom. And this is found on our home screen of Top Producer. And we can see that I had a follow-up to do here in my My Business. So the My Business section is going to be your daily planner and organizer, right? It'll remind you of tasks you have to do, whether it's calls or appointments. They're going to be all there for you. The tasks will display in your My Business section. And right from the My Business section, you'll be able to click on the title of the task to edit any details. You'll be able to mark the task complete from there, as well as you'll be able to update anything, mark it done without really having to go into the contact record. So really, once you've put your task in place and you've scheduled it, the My Business is going to remind you to check it out, and you can mark it done and update any details. So that's a really nice thing because it can be really hard, to remember what you have to do, especially when you have a lot on your plate. Once you schedule your tasks, you just have to regularly check your My Business. Once a task is marked completed, a wrap-up will appear. And this is because not all tasks are one and done, right? We understand that things can get complicated, so wrap-up's there to help you not lose track and schedule any future follow-up, after you've notated everything you've done with a task. All right, so my next slide here, and I'm just going to switch views again just because I am cutting off a little bit of the bottom, but while it's still larger, you'll see a bit of the follow-up coach here. 1 second. All right, and now that we have our contacts organized, we know a little bit about the sales pipeline. We understand that we have a My Business section to help us remember of our tasks. What next? Well, the next thing is to utilize the follow-up coach tool. So we talked a little bit at the start of the webinar about settings and rules, but how do you actually use the follow-up coach? Once those settings and rules are in place, the follow-up coach is actually quite easy to use. What it's going to do is it'll choose 5 contacts for you to connect with each day, and it'll suggest ways for you to follow up with them. From the follow-up coach, you can just click on their contact card. You'll be able to see some contact details, send an email, send a market snapshot, or wrap up completed activity. The nice thing is with follow-up coach, like I was kind of mentioning, it does the work for you. You can work your follow-up coach while you're waiting for your morning coffee, or maybe you're picking up the kids from school. The follow-up coach will give you those 5 contacts each day like I mentioned before. And if you think about that, if you're reaching out to 5 contacts a day during the week, right, that's 25 a week. $100 a month and $1,200 a year. The secret to repeats and referrals is follow-up, and this is really an easy way to systematically attack those goals, and it's done right there for you. All right. And that brings us to the conclusion of the class today. So really, the thing to remember, guys, is the first day is all about getting your contacts into the system and getting them organized. The first week is about starting to use the tools in the system. Every day should start with calling your new leads in the sales pipeline and getting their status changed to active, right? You'll want to schedule tasks in your My Business section, mark them done when completed, and add any details into their contact record. Finally, continue to use the follow-up coach so that you're reaching out with all of your clients and no one falls through the cracks. If we focus on these steps, you're going to be more than well on your way to winning with Top Producer. It's all about getting organized, executing your follow-up, and wrapping up properly. If you do these things, you're bound to succeed. I know we've covered kind of a lot today and what to do in your first day and week. So if you guys do have any other questions after, we will still be checking the Facebook chat. So we will go through any questions in there throughout the day, but feel free to give us a call. Our number here is 1-800-830-8300. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great day.